Okay everyone, now that we have the monsters being created every second and 10 in total, let's go and put in the functionality to be able to click on them and have them disappear. Before I do that though, I'm going to resave my file as Shooter Game 5 so that any code I add now that might cause my system to crash will not affect what I already have done and working so nicely. Okay, to get that code to work, just double click on the monster movie clip symbol and open up your actions panel from the first frame of the actions layer inside the monster movie clip, and we just have to add a little bit down on the bottom here. So we're going to say this, meaning this monster inside this movie clip, the thing where we're the only way, we're going to add an event listener, and the type of event is mouse event, and it's going to be a click. Oops, gotta know how to spell. And when we sense that click, we're going to run a function called kill monster, and I should use a capital M here for convention's sake to have the camel case, so kill monster and then semicolon. And then our function is kill monster function receives an event, and it's a mouse event. Void at the end, and then scroll down a little bit here, and then open and close my curly braces, scroll down a little bit again, and I'm going to say what happens when I click on the monster. Well, I want to remove it. It goes away, it's gone. So I'm going to say this, so this monster, go to the parent, which is the stage, and remove. And we did this just previously with the hurt thing, the hurt function. Remove child, what are we removing? This. So it's like we're starting with this, going over there, removing this, but it works. That's how it works. Now we are missing a piece of code here. When the animation ends, or it's listening for on this thing, it's listening to the animator, that's the variable, wants to know we're adding an event listener, motion end, or motion event. When the motion ends, run the hurt player function. But now we're saying if we click on it, take it away. So if we click on it, the motion never ends. So if we don't remove the listener for the motion end, we're going to get an error. And let me show you what I mean. But because I know I'm going to get an error, and actually, it's always good to save your file before you run it, just in case your code is so damn messed up that it crashes everything. So now I'm going to run it and see what happens. So I'm going to click on it, and it doesn't actually go away because there's some other error I have to show you about. So I say, well, where's that error you're talking about? Well, because I never clicked on them, the motion ended. So let's go and fix that first error. When I click on them, they're not even going away. And the reason for that is, and it might be hard to see, I didn't click on that one, but this one here, I'm clicking, nothing happens. And the reason for that, in this code in the main timeline, we need to go over here where it says adding the child. We hid the mouse, so we only have our cursor. But the other thing we have to say is cursor dot mouse enabled. And the reason why we're doing this is equals false. We're saying, okay, the cursor is not a mouse. The actual mouse is really there, even though it's hidden. So the pointer is what's clicking on the monster. But if you don't disable the cursor class, the cursor is underneath the pointer of the mouse, and you're actually clicking on that. In fact, let's show you that. So before I put this in, let's unhide the mouse and play the game. You see my mouse, what I'm clicking on, I'm not clicking on me, I'm not clicking on the monster, I'm clicking on the silly cursor. So these things aren't actually going away when I'm clicking them, because I'm clicking on the cursor. So really what I want to do in here is, after I add the cursor to the stage, I want to say cursor, just like I did before, dot mouse enabled, and this is what we call a Boolean type thing. It's either true or false. That's what Boolean means, two options. And then we also want to say mouse, M-O-U-S-E, dot hide. And I think over here mouse has to be capital. Open close semicolon, parentheses. Why I say that all? Open close semicolon. Okay, so now the mouse is hidden, but also the cursor is disabled. Cursor.mouse enabled equals false is the same as saying disable the cursor. So that the mouse, this white pointer thing that we see all the time, is actually what's clicking on the monster. It's just you don't see that. You see the graphic that we created for the reticle or the reticle. Okay, so let's play that now. In fact, before we play it, let's save it again. Same name because this is what we're still working on. So now they go away, but look at the error popping up, because when they go away, they're not really removed. Or rather, it's still waiting for the motion to end, and the motion never does, because they're going away beforehand. So we have to fix that error by going into the monster movie clip, going to the timeline, opening up the actions layer, and above this, before I remove it, I'm going to say this animator, let's call animator, which is just the name of the variable that Flash set up when you copied your motion for ActionScript. We're going to say remove event listener. I use the code hint there. Remove event listener. It's a motion event end. Motion event end. Use the quick the code hint there too, so I don't have to type. So motion event end, and what function do we run? The hurt player function. So what this is doing is saying, okay, when you click on the monster, the variable this animator, remove the event listener, the motion event, and it's what type of listener? It's a motion event, and when the motion ends, from the hurt player function. Okay, so that's going to remove it, and this is going to remove it. So it's kind of like you're removing the object, but you're also removing the listener at the same time by doing this. So now we'll close this out, and we'll go back to scene 1, and we'll do one more save, and then when we play it, I can click and make it disappear, and I don't get any errors. I didn't actually count, but this looks like about 10. Okay, so that's how you click on something with a custom cursor, make it disappear, and not have any errors with the motion end not being ended. Next video, we'll see how to make the monster disappear with some sort of animation rather than just disappear. Thank you.